Live struggle legacy. It's a whole movement.
Hey everybody, it's your boy MP, Live Struggle Legacy, and welcome to the Live Struggle Legacy podcast. Now real quick, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification button, drop a comment, subscribe so that you get the latest episodes from the Live Struggle Legacy podcast. Now today, I want to introduce a very special guest. We have for you Doppler Danny, Big Merch, the entrepreneur, formerly known as Darnell. I know I'm missing something. The Earl of Sandwich right here in the flesh. Danny Carrelli, y'all. So, Danny, first of all, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Hey, thank you.
Because I know you could have been doing a lot of other things. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you making this trip out.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, all right. So I'm going to tell a story about you, and I want to give you your flowers on this podcast, bro.
All right.
But it starts when, so I went to Lakewood, Danny went to Bogey, right? So we kind of grew up at different sides of town, but we're still St. Pete, right? We knew a lot of the same people growing up, and I think we knew of each other probably long before we actually knew each other,
Exactly.
right? But I remember when we first got cool, you actually did me a solid. And I talked about it in another podcast because I was a convict. I couldn't rent from anybody. I had A1 credit, but it didn't matter. And so, one of the homies was like, man, you need to holler at Danny, and I remember you just remodeled that unit, so it was like everything was brand new. It was nice. It was like luxury, and it was in like a really convenient spot. So Danny rented to me when nobody else would. So
back then, I was 23 at that point, and we had just me and my dad bought an apartment building and fixed it up, and back then I thought I was a little businessman, and I was concerned. I was like, well, maybe he won't be able to pay the rent, so. That's why I was like, well, if you want to pay the whole lease up front, we'd have no problem with it. And of course, he had told me, hey, I got this from student loans. We knew it was legit money that was coming in, so we were happy to help him out, and we were happy at that time to help you out, man. So.
And what I got to say too, because I was in a super vulnerable position at that time. While I was living in your unit, that's where the feds rushed. If you remember in the previous podcast when I told you they laid me on the ground, they had the whole Tangerine lined up.
I didn't know any of that.
So they were all lined up. They took me away. So that place was empty, right?
Yeah.
And when I came back, it was like towards the end of the lease. And I cleaned it all up real good. I think I broke one of your cabinets, and I told you right away, or like something had happened.
Yeah,
and
I remember giving most of the deposit back.
well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you gave me all the deposit back. I remember that. I don't forget shit like that, because you could have easily been like, "Oh, well, you fucked this up, and you haven't even been in here, and I'm pretty sure you broke the lease when my door got kicked in, and and they didn't force entry. They would have kicked it in if I didn't open it." But
no, you were the homie, so.
No, again, that's love, bro. Seriously, thank you for that.
Definitely.
And then years later, I don't know if you remember this, but I got out almost a decade later, and you were working with, what was the realtor company?
Caldwell.
Okay. And so I hollered at you. I don't know if you remember that. And there was a unit that was in South Pasadena, this tiny little unit right on, what was that, Sunset or Sunrise or something, back behind Publix. And it was overlooking the water. It was amazing. It was this tiny little place. It was only like $700 a month. And I reached out to you because it was Caldwell. Like, yo. And you were like, well, look, I'm kind of segueing out. You were kind of getting ready to do the accounting thing, I think. But you put me in contact with a dude, and I remember there were like 13 people that came to the showing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, oh, I'm dead. I know they all got better credit than me. They have no criminal background, right? And so, but one of the homies there, I don't remember his name, but he was cool as fuck. And he was like, yo, drop the application off at the place tonight. Nobody else knows that. They first come, first serve. And I did it. And I don't know if you put in a word for me or what, because I know nobody would rent to me at that time. And I got that. So that's twice that you put me in the place.
We try what we can.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, I appreciate you, man. And, you know, back to when, you know, I met you through, I think, Jason. And, you know, I was always into the kind of the local rap, local music scene. And, you know, I saw you were doing the We Chargin' album, which I still have at home. So, great album. And that's kind of how I got onto, you know, what you were doing. And so, yeah, you know, shout out to what you've been doing. And,
that's
lovely. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So on that note, on that topic, you know, this is pretty much a hip hop centric podcast, and I got into podcasting through music, right? So, you know, and I know maybe you don't make music per se, but I know you're a patron. I know you're a connoisseur.
I've been listening to rap since I was 8. So I lived in San Diego at that point, and that would have been 92. Dr. Dre dropped The Chronic. It was huge over there, and you know, my mom really wouldn't let me listen to it, so I was trying to sneak listening to it. But you know, that came out. Doggy Style came out in 93. You know, and then we were, you know, I was listening to Bone and even to Outkast and stuff. So all over the, you know, all different rap from around the country, and just always, you know, I figured I'd be, you know, not really into it after I reached a certain age, but here I am at 40 years old, and I still follow everything that goes on in hip hop, and it's just one of the things I'm passionate about. So, you know, that's why I still like doing things like this, just because I still like the culture and the scene. So,
absolutely, and you speaking on this, you didn't mention Nas, and I only say that because so Danny has a beautiful daughter, and whenever Danny does a post about his daughter, he always uses the hashtag more conscious of the way we raise our daughters.
Yeah, I always use that because I think it's important, and I think, you know, in this day and age, parents need to really be conscious of how they're raising their children, and that's what I try to do with my daughter. So I try to put that energy out.
Absolutely, man, and that's beautiful energy. That's the best energy that you could put out.
Yeah.
So that's what's up, man. Do you feel like hip hop kind of like shaped you in any way, shape, or form, or I mean? Well,
I think it did in a lot of ways. I mean, it's something I still follow. You know, recently the Drake and Kendrick beef, I was pretty involved in that. I followed the whole thing, and you know, I was. When I was younger, I was like, I didn't think I'd be still so into hip hop culture, but I still am. So
absolutely, amen, brother.
Me, I guess.
Amen. Yes, sir.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
So okay, I want to get more into your live struggle and your background, anything that you want to share with the people. But my bad.
So a little bit about me. You know, I'm a CPA by trade. I also have two FFLs, so federal firearms licenses. I'm also a business broker and a pawnbroker. So kind of a serial entrepreneur. I like to do a lot of different things. It kind of started out as, you know, I really was kind of a misguided youth. Kind of, you know, just kind of hustled as a kid. Didn't really have a job. Made money on my own, kind of, you know, just getting money how I knew how to get it, and you know, did a lot of, you know, really was a, you know, kind of, my home kind of on the surface looked like a, you know, a nice happy home, but it was really a broken home. My mom was an alcoholic. My dad was, you know, pretty distant and kind of focused on work, so didn't really have a good family life. Started really doing drugs really early, started smoking pot at probably 11, started doing acid at 12, Cocaine at probably 14, 15, ecstasy at 14, 15. Was selling it, it was really just, that was just a big part of my life. And really that was me kind of, it was me being unhappy with, I guess, my situation. And so I was just hustling, doing drugs, wasn't going to school. I ended up dropping out senior year, ended up getting a GED. And then after that, then I was about 20 years old, got my real estate license at 21 after getting the GED, and then really was pretty successful my first year. I was always a salesman, was good at kind of sales, good at talking with people. So I ended up buying a duplex when I was 21, got my real estate license at 21, bought a duplex, bought the 6 unit that you lived in when I was 23, got my broker's license. So was doing a lot, that kind of really taught me. Before that, I didn't do anything, besides selling pot. So this kind of taught me, hey, you can really do something. So I ended up having I got a billboard over there on 49th.
I remember that. That billboard.
No one ever called me for real estate about it. They were just, oh, Carrelli, you're doing big things with a billboard. But, anyway, so now I'm 23 years old. I've got eight apartments, fixing those up, renting those out, learning. It really didn't have any sort of education at that point. Kind of just street smarts, and then the real estate knowledge. And then the real estate market took a turn around. So this would have been around 2008. So 2008, the market crashed. It was very hard to sell anything. I was trying to do short sales, trying to sell, in a really terrible market. Ended up deciding, okay, I'm going to go back to school. Went back to school, went and took the placement test, and I was so far behind, so I had to take probably, I think it was like 3 remedial math, 3 remedial reading before I could even get credit. So it was a lot of time. But I ended up, catching back up. I ended up getting an associate's degree an associate's in arts, associate in sciences. Then I went and got my accounting degree, and graduated cum laude. So I was very, going from not doing anything to really, being at the top of my class in college. That took a lot for me to try to transition to that. So got my accounting degree, ended up taking and passing the CPA, and then ended up going back and getting my MBA. So I got an MBA in forensic accounting and tax, got the CPA, went and started working for going into the industry, working in a tax office. So then after that, I was working for another CPA for probably 4 or 5 years, kind of learning the business, kind of learning how to run a tax practice. And then I went on my own. So I went on my own and I opened up the Money Tree Financial Services, where we do taxes, accounting, business consulting. And then next door is the pawn shop, so that's the Money Tree Pawn and Gun. We do pawn loans and sell firearms, accessories, that kind of thing. Was doing that for a while, and then I ended up getting sick. And then after I got sick, I really wasn't able to stand in the shop for 8 hours a day. It was just, my condition was physically taxing. So tried to figure out what I could do as far as something in the firearms industry where I wasn't standing the whole time. So I ended up setting up Valhalla Ordnance. So we manufacture our own firearms. So I can do that sitting down. A lot of it's, my mental knowledge and me setting up different products and websites and things like that. So that also gave us a chance to expand nationwide. So now we sell to all of the free states where you're allowed to buy our products. And it creates synergies between the retail side and the manufacturing side. So I'm kind of vertically integrating into the supply chain, creating synergies between those two businesses. And then I set up the business brokerage, which is a good business for the financial services. It creates synergies between those two because we can refer, we can do their taxes and accounting, have everything proper for them to list their business, and then we can list and sell their business. So that's kind of my professional kind of timeline. So now I'm running the 4 businesses. So we're right there in Central Avenue, 7223 and 7225 Central Avenue in St. Petersburg. So we have the pawn shop, the firearms manufacturer, the business brokerage, and then the CPA and the tax practice. So got my hands in a lot of different things, but they're all somewhat related, and they create synergy between them. So
that's amazing, bro. I love what you're doing. I love the motion that you have with it. And I know initially it was mainly a pawn shop. Mm-hmm. So was it just a passion project?
Well, I started making or building firearms at my dining room table. So I was doing that, and I had, ended up kind of getting really into firearms. I bought my first firearm 10 years ago. So from buying your first firearm to opening up a retail establishment, and then getting to the point where you're manufacturing your own firearms. So I've done a lot in the past 10 years in the firearms industry, and very proud of what we do. Everything we make has a lifetime warranty. We probably have 55 different models on our website. We have hundreds of different products on there. We make holsters, we make Glock parts, we make AR parts, ARs. So a lot of different products that we have on there, merch, things like that. So very proud of what we're doing there. Everything comes with a no BS lifetime warranty. Everything's made right in St. Petersburg. All of our components are 100% American made. So very proud of what we're doing there. But the basically what I envisioned when I first started was just me really doing more taxes and then kind of selling firearms on the side, but getting the correct license, being in a commercial building and all that. So that being said, I ended up looking for a building, found this spot that we're at now, and it was the way it was laid out was like, okay, this is I can make an actual gun shop here. So that's what I kind of pivoted to. Okay, I'm going to make a full gun shop, do taxes on the side.
I was just going to say, it kind of turned the opposite, right?
Kind of turned the opposite. So, and now after what we've gone through is the market's changed. 2020 and 2021, we were killing it, selling just tons and tons of guns and ammo. Market has changed since then, so now I'm pivoting more and doing a lot more of the taxes. And plus, it's a lot easier with my condition to do taxes. So, trying to just make do with my situation, and I'm getting there. It's a struggle, but
now,
we're doing it.
At some point, you were even offering. Do you still offer like concealed weapons classes? And
we do that too. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we do it the last Saturday of every month. We offer concealed weapons classes. So we do that. We do some gun cleaning, things like that. Ammo.
Do you actually offer I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
Pawn loans.
Pawn loans, yes, sir.
To borrow money, we'll loan on guns and gold. So,
okay.
Yeah, and we also buy gold.
So what about like firearms training?
That's kind of what we do in the class.
With the concealed.
Yeah, the class is kind of like a basic class. So if the students want further training, then they can get that with the instructor. So
that's
the instructor will do one-on-one, because that's a big thing as far as being in the firearms industry. We want to really stress safety and proper training. So
absolutely. And I just had a thought that I've never had before. Just in this moment, it's like people always emphasize background checks and making sure that you don't have any kind of history. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I'm a huge proponent of Second Amendment. I'm a huge gun proponent, but I cannot own a gun. Mm-hmm. And if I touch a gun, they'll throw me away for a really long time. I don't even have to necessarily have it. I can just be near it. Right? Anybody that understands what it's like to be a convicted felon and lose your rights. So hopefully we get some kind of something with that. But I'm bringing that up to say they do all this to make sure that you don't have this background, but you need very little knowledge and experience with firearms. So once you're clear, it's like, oh yeah, you could go buy whatever. Right. So I think that's pretty important especially if you're going to go buy a gun, that you know what you're doing with it, so you don't.
Yeah, we really focus on training and teaching, and I think new shooters and new firearm people new to the industry, it's important. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I love that. I love that you offer that. I remember when I first found out that you were offering those classes, I thought that's amazing. Like, I'm trying to send like my sister and like women in my family over to you, and you need to get your concealed, and so now in the middle of all this, when did you become a dad?
So in 2019 is when I had my daughter. That's a whole, I could go on for a whole podcast about that, but I'm a true single dad. My daughter, I've been taking care of my daughter on my own since she was 3 months old. The mother, I have a restraining order against the mother. I've got full custody of Gabby. So that's been quite a challenge since the beginning. I've forged a wonderful relationship with the mother's parents. So,
Excellent. That's excellent.
the maternal grandparents are key in this team that we run, taking care of Gabby. Gabby has special needs, and she's in a wheelchair. So she has cerebral palsy and a genetic disease and a few other challenges, but she's an awesome kid. She tries so hard, and she's really taught me, empathy, and I actually ended up getting sick and to where I wasn't able to use my legs. I was paralyzed from the waist down. And it's just interesting how that happened, because it really gave me the empathy I needed to really properly understand her condition. So that's kind of what I've taken from me being paralyzed is learning how to properly care for her. That's kind of so basically she's the grandparents are very close. Me and the maternal grandparents team up to take care of her, but she's doing great, and she's a very happy kid, even though she does a lot of challenges, but she's very happy and progressing at her own pace. So we're very proud of her.
And I gotta say, man, like, what really lights up my day and could totally turn my mood around for the positive. We all scroll on social media, usually looking at a bunch of nonsense. But man, when I see those, more conscious of the way we raise our daughter posts, and your beautiful daughter, and I can tell you're lit up. I have a son, so I know exactly how that feels, and that just lights up my life. And I've never even met your daughter, but I see those posts.
She's brought a lot to a lot of people's lives, and she's taught me a lot, and she's a great person, and I'm very proud of her, and I'm just going to keep getting her the care she needs, and helping her grow, and helping her navigate through this world.
So yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. So much respect to you as a dad. Daddy Danny, we didn't even get into that,
Thank you.
Absolutely, man.
And same to you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. My son is my whole life, So, and I think so this is a connection that I kind of made between like me, you, other single dads out there, or just parents in general. You don't have to be a single parent, but I think what's really important about being a parent, no matter what you're going through, is to hold on to your visions, to hold on to your dreams, and so this is why I've really been for a number of reasons, clearly, but this is the Live Struggle Legacy podcast, right? This is about staying to your dreams, following through your vision despite adversity, despite what's going on, right? And I think you really exemplify that.
Well, I think that the challenges I've had with my daughter's health, and the challenges I've had after that with my health would have stopped a lot of people, and I'm proud of what I've done, being able to manage all of this through these struggles, and being able to still manage my 2 businesses while managing my daughter's care, while, being paralyzed. I was paralyzed for 5 weeks. I was in the hospital for 33 days, couldn't walk, I couldn't wiggle my toes, and it was I almost died. And so coming back from that while managing my daughter's care, who has special needs, is in a wheelchair, and managing two businesses, creating 2 other businesses while all this other stuff is going on, is part of my story and is part of my struggle. And and we all have other struggles too. We're here in Florida. Whenever this episode's going to air, that we just went through a bunch of hurricanes the beginning of October. So that was another struggle that we've been dealing with. But it's nice to see the community coming together through these struggles. But we all have challenges, and we all have to continue to pursue our dreams through these challenges. And I think that's kind of what this podcast and this movement's about. And I'm proud to be on the show and to be able to share my story here. But you got to continue, like if you've listened to this podcast, Mike has been focused on his music career through large struggles, through being incarcerated, all that. So I think the essence of this podcast and this movement is to really be able to stick through your dreams and not let them be stifled by this tough world. So
amen, brother. Yeah. Amen. So I'm sure it's not one thing, but is there anything you could think of? I mean, I'm sure, I have no doubt that you have a strong faith, and I know your daughter motivates you. So what kept you going through life-threatening illness, being a single dad? I know that's not easy, and running these businesses. What gets you up and going on the mornings when you don't want to and you're not feeling good?
Well, there's a drive inside me that I want to be successful. I want to provide for my daughter and provide for my employees and my community and myself. So it's an innate desire to be successful. And even though I keep getting kind of pushed down, I keep getting back up. And I think you just when everything looks bleak and when everything looks difficult and hard, take a deep breath, go to sleep, wake up, try again.
Yes, sir.
And that's that's kind of I'm very tenacious, and I just don't quit. So I think having that is key in this challenging world, because it's not getting easier. The economy's rough, so you got to keep moving forward. And you get beaten down, but you got to just take a deep breath, take a step back, regroup, and then come back at it.
Yes, sir, man. So you make me think of something that I read when I was actually incarcerated. I did a lot of reading, and I have a ton of notes, and I took so many notes I don't even know where I got a lot of these ideas. But there was a quote that I read, and it said, "Excuses are lies that we tell ourselves when we're not willing to put forth an effort."
Right.
So, on that note, I mean, you had every excuse to stop and do something else or do nothing at all.
Right.
Right.
A lot of people have told me, they said, what would make you create more businesses and create more, challenges that you have to deal with every day? But it's the way that I'm built. It's like I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do. I'm gonna keep creating businesses. I'm gonna keep employing people and making a difference and creating products that people can use that are good, solid products. I'm going to advise my clients the proper way to shelter themselves from taxes. So it's I love doing what I'm doing, and I'm not going to stop doing that because of these challenges. So I'm having to figure out how to navigate through this, and I am.
Yes, sir.
So,
and you're doing an incredible job, brother.
Yeah. So,
yes, sir.
But.
So, okay, real quick, I just want to touch on. All right, so if you remember, I introduced Danny as Doppler Danny. I introduced Danny as the Earl of Sandwich, and I want to elaborate on what I mean by that. So we're in St. Petersburg. Well, right now we're in Tampa, so we're, the whole Tampa Bay, we're all family. The whole Tampa Bay. I don't see it any other way.
Right.
We may stay on one side of the bridge more than we stay on another side of the bridge, but we're all family in Tampa Bay. And if you've been paying attention to world events and you're not in Tampa Bay, then I'm sure you're aware that we recently had the most devastating storms that we've had in any of our lifetimes in about 100 years. Right, we had a Hurricane Helene come in late September with mass flooding, storm surges that we've never had in our lifetime, serious property damage, even loss of life in some of the beach areas. And then just 2 weeks later, we had Hurricane Milton come in early October and knock out all the power, knock out roofs, trees through people's bedrooms, people not having homes. Like my childhood home was completely flooded, lost everything.
A lot of people have lost everything, and these two storms combined have been the worst thing that we've ever seen. And I've lived here for 35 years, and I'm sure the same thing with you. Areas of this city that have never flooded. People had 3-4 feet of water in their homes. They're having to rip everything out, throw everything out. So it's just been very, very challenging for our area. And me and my team kind of sat. We didn't really even talk about anything. We just started doing. We didn't know what to do, so we turned our office into a donation center. We partnered with 5 or 6 different local businesses all around Pinellas County to be donation centers. So we're collecting donations, we're getting them out to the hurricane victims. I didn't really know what I could do to make a difference just because I can't really lift anything, so wasn't really able to lend a hand. So what we decided to do was to start making sandwiches and delivering sandwiches. So in the first week after Helene, we made 2,500 sandwiches, delivered them, handed out 5,000 waters, hundreds of snack packs, hundreds of hygiene packs. So I really used my resources and my contacts and my knowledge to coordinate all this. I don't think I even made a sandwich, but I coordinated all the sandwich making. I coordinated all the deliveries and all that. So 2,500 sandwiches in 1 week, and I'm not in the restaurant business, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Yes, sir.
And so we've done a lot, in the past few weeks, and we're going to keep continuing to do so. But we've got, if anyone's been affected by this hurricane, you come down to 7223 and 7225 Central Avenue in St. Petersburg. We have food, we've got water, we've got pet food, we've got hygiene products, snacks. So just come on down. And if you know somebody that can't get there, if you want to come down and get stuff, bring the donations to them. But we all got to come together as a community to rebuild here. So that's we're gonna all do our own little part. So.
And there you have it. Now you see why he's the Earl of Sandwich. and I'm joking, but it was really serious what was going on with those storms. We're still being affected months later, and but I think it's so important, as somebody who's been through my share of adversity. Danny's been through his share of adversity. I'm sure a lot of you all listening right now have been through your share of adversity. But it's so, so important that, we come together, we help each other, but I think it's important to keep a sense of humor in all of this, right? Because it's like, we were wiped out by a storm surge, and then we're told that there's this Category 5 storm that's headed straight to us. So here we are, our phone's connected to the charger, everything powered up. If you had a generator, you had it ready. We're already prepared for the absolute worst case scenario. At least I hope you were, because it got real. Bad. And it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, it could have been way worse. And I stayed here with my 3 animals. I rode this storm out in my house. I have a block house, and that house was shaking. I mean, it was a scary storm.
Scary shit.
Yeah, and I've been through a lot of storms, but this was an intense storm, and a lot of we've paid our hurricane dues the past month, but as a community we've got to come together. We've got to be kind to one another, help one another. And I think that's what I want. What I tried to do is tried to lead on the issue and tried to get other people in the city to kind of get behind it. And we've made a difference. And I'm proud of that. And
you should be, bro. I'm proud of you for it.
We're gonna keep making sandwiches if they're needed. Keep running the donation center. While we're running all of our other businesses. So.
And so just to touch on this briefly, the comedy comes in Doppler Danny. So if you were following Danny on his socials, every so often he'd come out with a report. Doppler Danny report.
I'm an internet meteorologist. So.
Yes.
But we have fun with it. I have fun with all of my businesses. So if you follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram or TikTok or the socials. We have fun, so it's not a serious place. So we try to have fun and we try to joke around, and we do try to bring serious knowledge to people about these storms. But I don't know why I started doing that, but I just started doing that during these storms, and I'm into storms, and we're trying to give people a little knowledge and while dealing with the storm.
So if you remember, because I know you've been religiously following the podcast, right? So I'm so grateful for that. If you remember me, I used an expression known as bidding, right? Like, so you don't have to be locked. Everybody knows, well, a lot of people know, maybe you don't know. So if you're not familiar with the term bidding, what a bid is, it's when you do time. When you go to jail, you do a little bid. When you go to prison, you might do a long bid. But it's called bidding, right? And then if you remember a previous episode, I talked about how people in prison would bid off of one another, right? So you're making light, you might be joking, making fun of each other or whatever in this horrible ass situation, but you're laughing, you're finding comedy in it, right? So, on that note, we were freaking out with the storm, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm bidding off Danny. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for that next Doppler Danny. You know what I mean? Like, and we're like bidding off each other, having all this anxiety, knowing that our whole world is about to get flipped upside down. And some people literally that's exactly what happened. Yeah. So it's very serious shit. But what can you do? And why not make light of it?
Yeah, I always say that my past trauma makes me funny and gives me my sense of humor. But this was a serious storm, and people were evacuating, and there was probably I would say 75% of the people in Pinellas County or in St. Pete evacuated. So a lot of people left, and it was really the biggest storm that we've ever dealt with here, and I didn't really know any other way than to try to make light of it and have fun. So that's how Doppler Danny and the salt and the sandwiches came about.
The salt, I forgot that one. The salt and the sandwiches. Yes, the salt and the sandwiches. So I mean, I just much respect for what you did, because you didn't have to do any of that, bro. You could have been, and I know people appreciate that.
Well, I had survivor's guilt because I was seeing people that had 3-4 feet of water in their house throwing every belonging out, and nothing happened to any of my properties or any of my businesses. So I felt like I was in the position to do it, and not being able to lend me not being able to lift trees out of people's yards and help that way. This was something that we could do. I could use my shop and office as a place for people to donate. I could use my contacts and resources to get some things done. And so, I still am trying to make a difference, even though I can't, lift a lot. So.
But you did lift. You left with your mind and your heart, brother. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, respect.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
So, I want to know more about Valhalla Ordnance, and I'm sure our audience does too.
So Valhalla Ordnance, we manufacture AR-15s, AR-10s, any AR platform, firearm. We manufacture parts, so anything to build your own AR-15. We also do Glock parts, and so if you want to build your own Glock, we do that as well. We make our own Kydex holsters. Every piece is 100% American made. Except for like our gun bags, we import those. But every piece of the firearms, are down to the springs and detents, are 100% American made. We have a no BS lifetime warranty. We're right there on Central Avenue. So we're very proud of what we've been doing there. You can see it. You can find us at vordnance.com. So it's vordnance.com, and then or Valhalla Ordnance on our socials. But if you have any questions, we're here to help. And we're very proud of what we've been doing, and that's been the most recent business that we've launched. And we launched the website a few months ago, so we're very proud of the website, and very proud of the products that we're putting together. So
Excellent. So, is there any other call of action that you want to?
So if you want to get in touch with us, we're at 7223 and 7225 Central Avenue. If you need to get in touch with the pawn shop or the Money Tree Pawn and Gun, if you need any tax or accounting or business consulting services, we're the Money Tree Financial Services on Facebook, on Instagram, on all of our socials. And then Florida Business Brokers is our business brokerage if you ever need to sell a business, or if you're looking to buy a business, or if you're looking for a business evaluation. That's Florida Business Brokers and Advisors. And then, of course, Valhalla Ordnance. So those are the 4 businesses, and you can get it. You can check us out online on our socials, or you can come down to 7223 and 7225 Central Avenue.
And you're still Money Tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Danny Carrelli, Doppler Danny, the Earl of Sandwich, the Sultan of Sandwich, the entrepreneur formerly known as Darnell. So if you need firearms, taxes, businesses, a sandwich, my bro got you. Is there anything else you want to say in closing? Like, you got this platform, you got these people, so I just want to make sure that
keep pushing through the struggles, keep following your dreams, don't give up. When things get tough, just take a step back, take a breather, come back the next day. You got to follow your dreams.
Excellent, brother. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on the show,
thank
bro.
you, definitely.
Amen, brother. Yes, thank you.
Definitely.
So there you have it, y'all. It's Live Struggle Legacy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification button. If you're looking to sponsor us and you want us to shout out your business, or maybe do a special episode or an ad, or you name it, this platform is available. If you want to get on the show and potentially interview, we do a little bit of a screening, but we're doing interviews now. Live Struggle Legacy. I can't thank you enough, Danny. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching us and supporting us. So make sure you check out the Money Tree Valhalla for those good. You know what I mean? Those what's the word there? Boomsticks? Yes, sir. Okay, y'all. Well, thank you for checking in. It's Live Struggle Legacy. We building pyramids.
Live struggle legacy. It's a whole movement.